Hello, it's Tuesday afternoon. And what happens when you have a big emotional response to something and your body acts a particular way? Like, what is going on with that? Right? So, my name's Deb Pearson. I'm self mastery mindset expert, and I talk about all things emotions. Today's progression video is about how our body language and our emotions seem to work together intrinsically. So, our bodies are truly amazing. They can digest food, show physical strength, and even react quickly when to avoid danger, right? But it can also do other things like give clues when something's not right and we feel upset. When we're emotionally upset, we react in different ways. Sometimes we might tense up, grit our teeth, hold our breath. We might feel the urge to run away or maybe shut down. But why? What is going on with that? What is that underlying message about? When something upsetting happens, our body goes into fight or flight mode. And it's a natural reaction that helps us to prepare either to deal with what's in front of us, like confront it, or to escape from it. So if we pay attention to our body's reaction, hi, I see there's people online, so go ahead and, if you don't mind, hashtag live and where you're from, and hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. Okay, back to the video. If we pay attention to our body's reactions, we start to tend to see like we have a reaction in a particular way, and it's a pretty regular, pretty standard. It repeats itself over and over. So, for example, if somebody yells, they may become very angry while another person might shut down. And it's a typical response for that person. Normally, if we get angry, we don't just shut down, or if we just normally shut down, we don't get angry. So we typically do the same types of behavior over and over and over again. And the good part about that is we can begin to identify what that is. So understanding your unique responses help you to gain insight into your emotions, and not just how to manage them or to push them down or control them, but how to master them, kind of in the same way that we've mastered other things in our lives, right? It's like an automatic behavior. So think of like reading or being able to write. It comes automatic for us. We don't really have to think about it because we've done it so many times. Our body knows what to do, so it goes into the automatic behavior. There's a whole thing about the brain on that, and it's so fascinating. But anyway, so when we experience certain emotions, they're often a reflection of our thoughts, beliefs, and meanings that we've assigned to such different situations. And so we're very influenced today by what happened a long, long time ago in our past. Many of my clients talk about, how do I stop feeling this way? I hate when, X happens and this emotion comes up. How do I stop that? Another one is, how do I stop this negative self-talk I have? It's like we have a tendency to think that we can just will our way through it, be very self-disciplined, but it's just not like that. But the good news is you absolutely have the ability to learn how to dissolve a lot of the anger, stress, fear. Hey, Kathy. Yes, body can speak volumes, give us information and feedback. It sure can, and teach us exactly. It does. Just a lot of times we don't quite understand what it's trying to say, right? So how can you dissolve fear? How can you dissolve anxiety or stress? Well, there's two main reasons that I'm going to give you, and they're just overarching. These are not like the be all end all. But one reason is there's a large percentage of what we perceive as a danger when actually it's not a danger. And I'll go over that in a minute. The other thing is there is a process that you can use to learn to identify and then begin to dissolve whatever the emotional upset is. Of course, like any new process, it takes time and practice to get it done. But the more you work on it, the easier it gets and the better things get. And I like to think of it as, okay, so it's work, but what's the alternative? What happens if I don't do the inner work, right? So you have the power to make positive change in your life But what often is missing is not knowing what steps to take. So it's common. I'm in New Orleans. I don't know. It's like allergies or something. So it's common to feel overwhelmed and to react negatively, either by internalizing things like self-hate or feeling unworthy, but also by expressing anger outwardly. The key lies in understanding how to make these changes and then how to take how to make the changes, how to act on those changes, and then the actions that go with them. All right. So one way to look at it is to see our familiarity with both the physical world and the emotional world. We're very adept at learning information and skills in the physical world, right? Where we can see like a tangible progression, and we see it through practice and measurement, and it feels normal for us. But the emotional world is very different for us because we haven't had the same level of education or guidance in that part of our brain. So emotional education is typically not taught in schools or business settings or at home, right? So what happens? We have a tendency to feel unsure about how to navigate our emotions effectively because we just don't know how. So even though this video is not specifically focused on emotions, it's important to recognize that emotions are what trigger our body's reactions, right? And I like to simplify it like this. And I mean big overarching simplification, because people can argue we have more than two brains. There's the cortex, neocortex, blah, blah, blah. So but just for this particular video, let's just say we have two brains. Brain number one represents the unconscious reactions, while brain number two represents conscious responses. Sometimes it's called the fast brain because, reactions are quick, and then the slow brain because thinking about things takes longer time. So when we encounter a situation that causes emotional discomfort, brain one kicks in immediately because it has a job, and its job is it's responsible to try and keep us safe from danger. So if danger is me putting my hand into a hot fire, it's going to tell me, kick your hand out quick. It doesn't speak, obviously, but we have a reaction, right? And, but the thing is, we've learned that there's two kinds of danger. So there's the real danger, like if you keep going, you're going to get burnt. But then there's also something called perceived danger. And it's crucial to distinguish between these two types of danger when it comes to our emotional responses. Our past beliefs and thoughts and experiences lead us to believe and perceive that certain situations are dangerous or threatening even when they're not. So let's do a little example. Let's say you have a new love interest or maybe a new friend you think is a really, really good friend, and when you text them, they don't text back. Or they'll text back and forth and then ghost you, and you're left with this uncomfortable feeling. Now, some people would dismiss it and blow it off, right? And other people end up having intense, upsetting feelings. We may ask ourselves, a lot of questions like, what did I do wrong? Why are they texting us back or texting me back, right? It's important to acknowledge and honor those feelings because that feeling is trying to tell you something. What happens is how the body reacts and responds while that's going on. And here's the difference between whether it's an actual danger, right? Real danger where there's going to be bodily harm, or we're really upset that they didn't get back with us and we don't know what to do. So it's a perceived danger. Now they're both incredibly uncomfortable, right? But by understanding the distinctions between them, we can become more aware of what's happening. There's body reactions and then there's emotional reactions. And emotional reactions often will show up in the form of some sort of anxiety. I talked about fight or flight earlier in this video, but there's also freeze and fawn, and that's FAWN, as in maybe people pleasing or trying to fix things. And then, of course, freezing is, I don't know what to do. So we kind of feel stuck. Okay. So when we have these anxious emotions, it is often a really simple, I'm doing a lot of simple stuff here, but it's in a simple explanation. It's basically the body's inability to process what's happening. So I'm thinking there may be danger and my body is preparing for it. So, like I said, what if my new love interest doesn't text me back? Like, oh, what did I do? And we have all these questions and we're upset. The body doesn't know that the person just didn't text us back. Our reacting to it makes the body think, if you will, that something bad is going to happen, something terrible is going on. And so we pay attention to this. Why don't I ever feel good enough? I mean, that could like shut us down and bring us to a place of just absolute like laying down, put the covers over our head. We just get to feel horrible about it. Or why do I get so scared when this particular thing happens? Right? This inability to process these certain thoughts creates brain one, the unconscious reaction, to just kick in, and it literally floods our system with hormones and chemicals. But things happen, like we get a rapid heartbeat. Maybe we start sweating. Possibly we have a need to hide, run away, or fight. Right? This is your body's language, and it's literally trying to communicate with you. So I like to say sometimes, think of yourself in a foreign country and you don't understand the language, right? That's sort of what's happening right now. Not understanding this other language. It's like when you do understand what your body is saying, it can empower you to navigate your emotions way more effectively so that you can make better choices, ones that align with your emotional well-being. Not to mention, when we pay attention to it and we're learning from it, my experience and other people that I know, their experience, it's like, wow, I really feel like I'm connecting with myself. Like the adult me, cares enough about what's going on that the little one inside of me feels way more connected to myself. I feel more connected to myself. Okay. So what's the call to action? If you are interested in going deeper into your body language, join me on Thursday in the Women's Self-Mastery community. I don't remember if I put that link. I'll make sure to put a link somewhere so that if you want to just click, you can get to it. There'll be a fun activity to help us learn how to translate our body's language and what it probably means. Probably, right? Nobody's perfect. Nobody can figure everything out. But knowing what it is helps us to be able to like figure some things out, gives us a direction. And it's honestly not until we really figure that out or come to some grasp about it, like, oh, right? It may not even be really conscious, but it's not until we get there that the healing can begin. Okay. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And if you have a sister friend out there and they have anxiety or stress or some kind of fear, feel free to invite her into the community on Thursday or to watch this video. Send it to her. And until next time, I am Debbie Pearson, helping you become more awesome on the inside. See you next time.